Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we're back with another totally blind head-to-head where we react to the pours and the prices before we find out what we're sipping.
If it's an available product, is it worth the money?
If it's hard to find, is it worth the hype and the hunt?
Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
We are not professional whiskey tasters, but we will randomly select one of these pairs at random and give you our completely honest opinions on it without any hype or bias of the labels. You'll see us work our way through the tasting and ultimately give each pour what we call a real-world score, which is based on what we find out during the blind tasting, as well as on the price and the availability, and most importantly to us, whether we would actually spend our own money on it.
If you like blind tastings like this, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Blind tastings is what we do here.
That's our bread and butter. And if you want to get a little bit more involved with the channel instead of just watching, you want to maybe do some blind flights and some blind tastings with us, you can check out the video description below for a link to our Patreon community. We got all kinds of fun stuff over there. We also do giveaways and have 2 bonus episodes every week over there.
And if you're just feeling like you want some Stuff and Whiskey merch, go ahead and head over to stuffandwhiskey.com, and we've got some dad hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of things.
All right, let's run our randomizer and see which one of these 18 pairs we're tasting today.
8.
Number 8. Well, this is number 9, so number 8 is going to be right here. We'll get these poured up, and we will be right back with our first impressions on each of these glasses. Let's get into glass 1. Cheers.
This smells like the remnants of a grape popsicle.
A grape popsicle. Interesting. I'm getting a little bit of banana sweetness here, but it's more syrupy than that. Almost like a banana bread and like a really syrupy sweetness.
I'm taking it back. It's a cherry popsicle. The red.
I see some cherry in there. There's like a cherry banana conglomeration going on. I could even get like a little milk chocolate. When I start getting that cherry banana together, I start kind of like leaning towards like a banana split. Like that's where my brain goes.
So you just probably put that.
I just want the other notes there too.
Put that juju on there, Ricky Bobby.
I could have. Let's see what it is on the palate.
Okay. Tastes like a red cherry popsicle.
Well, the nose was pretty syrupy and concentrated, and that's coming across on the palate.
Yep.
It's coming across really oily. That's like the first thing that stood out to me is how oily it is. That could be just because it's the first sip, not only of this video, but of the day for us. Let's get into one more sip before we go on to glass 2.
Okay. Yep, it's like an adult version of a red cherry popsicle. A boozy popsicle.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, the oiliness, it's really hanging around.
Yeah, it's even
the cherries really coming to the forefront on that second sip.
There's some oaky, a little bit.
There's some oakiness on the back end. It is higher proof than I probably thought it was. Right off of the first sip, I thought maybe it would temper down a little bit, and it didn't. It maintained.
I breathed in, and it like just exacerbated the fire in my mouth.
All right, let's get into glass 2 and see what we're working with over here.
I'm not getting much on this. It smells like alcohol.
Really? This is also incredibly rich and syrupy on the nose. Honestly, this is more cherry on the nose to me, but it's wrapped up in some other stuff like the oak, and like there's some woodiness in there.
I got a bit sour just now.
Really? Okay. Let's get into the palate and see what we're working with.
This tastes very light on the palate. Kind of sour.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, on the finish, I see what you're saying with the sourness. It doesn't have the body, the oiliness that the first glass did, but it still is really nice. It still has plenty of body. It still is oily, just not quite as much as glass 1, at least in comparison coming right off of glass 1. Let's take one more sip just to be sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of sour and wood. Sour popsicle sticks. I'm like on the popsicle train right now.
Yeah. There's definitely more oak there than glass 1 in comparison. It still has that syrupiness to it, that fruitiness, that kind of like, it's almost like cherry syrup and maple syrup mixed together.
I'm not getting maple.
This is gonna be really interesting. It's like real light, the maple, but this is very interesting. This is the experience in both of these glasses is very similar, but the flavor profile is a little different. We're gonna take some time. We're gonna clear our palates out. We need to do that. These kind of do stick around, they linger. And we're gonna start with glass 2. We're gonna go back to glass 1, go back and forth, A/B them, and we'll be back with our full thoughts right after this. All All right. After spending some time with both of these pours, what do you think? Let's start with glass one.
So for me, glass one gets a thumbs up on the nose. Thought it smelled really good. It gets just okay on flavor.
Really?
Yes. Not because it was bad. It just isn't for me, I don't think. But it gets overall thumbs up on overall experience. It was fine. It just wasn't blowing my hair back, as you like to say.
Yeah. Are your thumbs feeling tight today?
A little bit.
Okay.
I'll need to loosen up my thumbs.
Okay. I gave glass one a thumbs up on the nose, a thumbs up on the flavor, 2 thumbs up on the experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll talk about it in a minute. Let's get into glass two for right now. Where are you at on nose, flavor, and experience?
Guys, the more I smelled this, the more sour it got. And I don't want to offend this glass, but it almost had like a urine smell to me. I know, like.
So where are you at on nose, flavor, experience?
It got thumbs down on the
Wow.
nose.
Okay.
I'm not liking it. It gets just okay on flavor and just okay on experience.
Wow. Harsh. All right. I gave glass two thumbs up on the nose.
So opposite.
Thumbs up on the flavor, thumbs up on the experience. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our experience with both these glasses. Do you have anything else you want to say about glass one?
No, I'm sorry. I gave it all away.
That's fine. For me, I said on the nose that glass one, first off, I said glass one to me is a mood pour. I have to be in a specific mood for glass one. It is so bright. It's like cherry extract. Like if you think about vanilla
flavor bomb.
If you think about vanilla extract, this is like cherry extract, not tart cherry juice, but like cherry extract. So I said it was bright cherry candy on the nose. It's almost like you took a red and a green Jolly Rancher and you put them in your mouth at the same time.
Yeah.
But then it's almost even sweeter than that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it sweeter. It's a flavor bomb, and I think it's a mood pour, and I don't think I was in the mood for it, and so I think that's why I just gave it just okay on flavor.
On flavor, I said that it tastes like somebody spilled cherry juice in whiskey.
Yeah.
Like that's what it tastes like.
I will agree with that.
And then on experience, I said that it was extremely oily and viscous. It had swelling flavor and had a long finish that sustains.
Very long.
However, it is almost like drying a little bit. It's not like the oak is drying. It's almost just like sharp. The finish has like a sharp edge to it.
I kind of like that drying though.
I kind of did too.
Yeah.
Like it brings like a little bit of zip with the brightness. But like sometimes I really prefer a little bit more of like a darker, heavier flavor profile in comparison to such a bright, concentrated experience. Like glass one is a concentrate. Glass two is a little bit more like dark and heavy. I say glass two on the nose.
Dark and heavy.
Yeah. It doesn't have like the viscosity, the oiliness, the body of glass one. But as soon as we cleared our palates and started with glass two, that face, I'm going to zoom in on that face in the edit.
Sorry.
But glass two on the nose, I said it was a powdered sugar donut with raspberry jam filling on
All
the
of
nose.
those things I strongly disagree with.
Yeah.
But you're entitled to your opinion because that's
so,
your experience.
It's so good on the nose. Like that is, I have found over time that if I can get like a fried dough, powdered sugar, jam filling vibe on the nose, that is right where I want to be. So glass two gave me that. Loved it on the nose. On the palate, it did have all that. It carried over and it had like a nice sweet oak. There's kind of like I wrote a mid-palate spice. White pepper ? I never eat white pepper.
We have some in the spice store.
I'm assuming that's what white pepper tastes like because it doesn't have quite like that sharpness of black pepper, but it's like a little bit peppery. So I'm assuming it's white pepper on the palate. And then on the experience, I said it had a solid body and finish, had a lingering sweet oak note to the finish, but it wasn't as oily and viscous as glass one. It was a little bit more thin, which is ultimately why I only got a thumbs up on the experience.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see why these two were put in the blind pool next to each other.
I feel like it's also interesting how we had such a different experience with both of
Yeah.
these. I don't think we've ever had such a different experience with the same pours.
That's a good point. I think you're right. I don't think we have. Obviously, you had a vast preference towards glass one.
I did.
For me, I would almost always prefer glass two.
Oh, man.
However, there are certain situations where I would reach for glass one over glass two. I will say before we get to the reveal, I think both of these come across like about $60 to $70 bottles, and I would like to have both of them.
I don't know. I feel like the flavor punch in glass one could warrant it to be for people to ask for more for it.
Above, yeah.
Yeah, because there is so much flavor in there.
Let's find out what we've been drinking.
Okay.
We're going to find out the price first and then find out what we've been drinking.
Okay.
So let's just go in order since we both preferred different glasses.
Okay.
Glass number 1 is number 18, and glass number 2 is number 17 in our blind key.
Okay.
So glass number 18, price?
$55.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Glass number 17?
$60.
Okay, so we're right on. I said 60 to 70.
Yeah.
Concentration of flavor. I'm stunned to find out what these are. All right, number 18, glass 1 is...
1792 full proof Nashville Daily Spirit store pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's 1792 full... That's the one I helped pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow, it came across so much more bright, like that concentration of flavor. So, okay, I remember it being oily and viscous with a finish that just went on for days. So that's all there. But when I first tried it, it was all like brown sugar and vanilla, and it has turned so bright.
That's
as
interesting
it sat.
that you call it a mood pour too.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, so what's 17?
Stagg Jr Batch 17.
Wow. Wow.
Why? I've had Stagg Jr before, haven't I?
That is so... Okay, that is wild. Like I said, these are very similar. Yeah, you've had Stagg Jr. I'm sorry, what was the question? My brain's melting in my head right now. What was the question?
I've had Stagg Jr before.
Yeah, you have.
I don't think I had this reaction to it before.
This is a different batch. I think this is the first time that batch 17 has popped up in our blind sample pool.
Okay.
Okay, so the interesting thing to me is, this is wild. What's the proof on Stagg Jr. on this batch? 128.7?
128.7.
Wow. This is 125 proof. It drank heavier, had way more body, way more viscous.
Yep.
It was just brighter.
Yeah.
That was all. But it's wild because I put this matchup in because I helped pick this barrel with a local store, and I remember it being so brown sugar and vanilla heavy that I thought to myself, this is a Stagg Jr killer. Like, this has the experience like a Stagg Jr.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think me saying that I got cherry popsicle on this first put that in your head?
It could have, because I said banana, and I was going towards like the banana split with the chocolate, the cherry. Like, that is part of the Barton 1792 profile, but it was just so proofy. It was so oily. I honestly forgot I even put this matchup in our blind sample pool. I didn't even know it existed. So I had no clue what either one of these were. I put marks beside both of them preliminarily, saying that I would like to have both of these again, but I didn't go goo goo gaga over either one of them.
Gotcha.
So this was very interesting.
I'd be fine not having Stagg Jr again. Is that like super bad for me to say?
No, I thought it was really good. You didn't. I mean, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
It just wasn't your cup of tea tonight.
No, I don't know why.
With that said, we should probably get into our retail and consumer metrics.
Okay.
You know, we are a consumer focused channel. So our retail metric is the pricing availability. And then our consumer metric is, as consumers, would we buy this product again or not? So $17.92 foolproof store picks. $17.92 foolproof is an on-the-shelf product in some states. It's not in Tennessee where we live. It is like a very limited release thing. Store picks are actually more abundant than the non-store pick version.
Yep.
With that said, they're still not super abundant, but if they drop in the market, they're going to be 50 or 55 or 60 bucks.
Okay. And
you can easily get to a store and get them. They never sell out right away. So I would say availability is just all right. Price for 125 proof. This particular pick is pushing 8 years, and I just know this because I went on the pick. It spent 8 summers in the barrel, but it's like getting close to the 8-year mark. It was barreled in the spring and bottled in the fall. So it
8
is
summers.
A little over 7.5 years, but it was 8 summers. So you're getting decent age. You're getting a lot of proof. It's from a major distillery, but it's not the most available product in our market.
Yeah.
Where are you at on retail score for a 1792 full proof store pick?
Well, the price,
or even in general in our market,
the price is good, but the kind of lack of availability drags it down for me. So I'm gonna give it just okay.
Yeah.
Only because if you can't get it, it's just okay to me. What about you?
That's fair. Well, would you buy it again or not? For $50, would you buy this again?
I would buy that.
55?
I would.
Even at 60?
I would buy it at 60. It's probably the most I would pay for it.
Yeah.
And it would not be like my everyday drinker. I do consider this like a mood pour.
Yeah. It's wild to me how much this has changed over time sitting in the bottle.
Gets a thumbs up.
Okay. Yeah. So you're just okay.
Just okay on retail, thumbs up on consumer.
Okay. I am thumbs up on retail. I hear you on the availability and all that stuff. It's just the price is so good for a barrel proof major distillery offering.
Yeah.
They're bringing something to the table that not a lot of other distillers and distilleries are. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up on retail score. Would I buy it again or not? Thumbs up. If I run across a store and they got a 1792 foolproof pick, I'm going to buy that thing. That's just the fact of the matter. This particular pick, I liked it more when it was more brown sugar and vanilla heavy earlier in the bottle. So it'll be interesting to go back to this non-blind and taste it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we'll talk about that later. Let's get into Stagg Jr. This is particularly batch 17, not your really cup of tea. Stagg Jr. has become almost as hard to get as George T. Stagg in that you either have to have a hookup. It should be a $60 bottle, $50-$60, but a lot of stores in our market mark it up to $100. If you get it, like I paid $100 for this bottle. A lot of stores are even marking it up well beyond that, like $250, $300 for a Stagg Jr. And it's insanely difficult to get your hands on. So the retail score, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the retail score is probably a thumbs down on this one.
Yep, it is. Thumbs down.
Even at $50 or $60, just the availability kills it. Yep. But let's say you walk into a store and you see Stagg Jr. sitting on the shelf for $50.
This particular batch, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
So I give it a thumbs down. That being said, I'd be willing to try other batches because I have had Stagg Jr. before and not had this reaction to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to just write off Stagg Jr. completely.
Right. But for batch 17, you're a thumbs down.
I'm a thumbs down.
For me, I'm a thumbs down on retail, as we've already discussed. But for consumer, yeah, I'm thumbs up. I'm buying Stagg Jr. Even if I run across another batch 17 at $100, I'm buying it. If it's 120... 120, because of the rareness of it, I'm probably buying. If it's like more than if it's 125, I'm walking out of the door without a bottle. It's just with our tax and everything, now we're up over 130. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to pay that much for this because I could buy 2 bottles of this or 3 bottles of Rare Breed or whatever else. So,
I was just thinking that, but I didn't want to say it yet again.
Yeah. We're becoming a broken record. But nonetheless, what we need to do now is we need to get in our real world scores on both of these pours. We'll be right back with those after this.
We get our scores by adding up the thumbs you see on the screen.
There are 10 possible points available, but this ain't Barton or Buffalo Trace's 10-point scoring system.
Nope, it's more like a bell curve.
And you guys know how those things work. Most things fall in the middle of them, and only the outliers tend to present themselves as really excellent or really not excellent, as the case may be.
Yes.
Nonetheless, let's get into these 2 pours.
Okay.
Real world score on 1792 full proof. Obviously, this particular store pick, and they will vary somewhat wildly because this is a single barrel, but this is probably not the best single barrel of 1792 full proof ever. And it's also probably not the worst. Of the 4 that we picked from, it was by far the best. And I've had some that are definitely close to this, and I've had others that aren't, but they're usually all pretty good. Okay. So where are you at on that for real world score?
So for me, this one gets a 4 out of 10.
Okay. So near the bottom of the range.
Near the bottom of the mid-range, though.
Yeah. We say 4 to 6 is kind of like that midpoint range of a good, average, solid product that's worth the money. For me, it gets a 6 out of 10. It's pushing the top end of that average range. And I would say that's pretty accurate to how I feel about it. Non-blind with the oiliness and the viscousness and the long finish, I might actually push it a little bit higher non-blind. But I'm trying not to be too biased because I helped pick it, and I do like it a lot, and we do have quite a few bottles of it. That said, let's get into glass 2, Stagg Jr Batch 17, real world score. Where are you at?
1.
Are you serious? Wow. Okay. For me, it gets a 5. I would say,
We'll just go on.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, what do you have to say about it?
Nothing.
You said it smelled like urine. For me, I would say that Stagg Jr. scoring a 5 is honestly probably pretty accurate. It's hampered a little bit by its availability.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. And the markups that stores are putting on it is becoming a little bit crazy. It's a 7, 8, 9 year blend from a major distillery of barrel proof products. Like Buffalo Trace isn't putting anything specifically amazing in their distillate. There's not unicorn tears that are going into oak barrels at Buffalo Trace, and swill is going in at other distilleries. Right. Like it's just about 8-ish year barrel proof bourbon, as is this also 8-year barrel proof bourbon. So the fact that they kind of stacked up similarly is not surprising if you don't think about the hype. But let's now get into who these are for, because that's going to be a very interesting conversation. I think if you have the opportunity to buy either of these at $50 or $60, jump on it. You might really enjoy them if you enjoy high proof pours.
Okay.
Would I buy Stagg Jr. at $100? I probably would, because of the rareness of it. Would I buy 1792 full proof at $70? It gets marked up to that at some stores. Probably not, because there's always going to be another store that might be selling it for a little less.
Is the rareness playing a factor?
The rareness is playing a factor in my recommendation on buying these. But I definitely would not recommend going out and spending $150 or $200 or $250 on Stagg Jr. unless you know that you're paying for the rarity and you're okay with paying for that and having the bourbon inside the bottle not be
$250
right,
worth
not
of
living like this.
Quality.
These are both really good $50 bourbons. They're both very poor $250 bourbons.
Yeah.
Now, I think what I would love the viewers to take away from this video is that Stagg Jr., a extremely hyped up, allocated, hard to find product for someone who really does enjoy whiskey.
I do, yeah.
It did not impress you in the least. And not only that, it was downright off-putting to you.
It was off-putting to me. I did not enjoy it, and I feel like people are going to come at me in the comments, but this was my experience with it. So
yeah, I mean, that is something to take away from this video. If you're watching, you've never tried Stagg Jr., and you're like thinking that there's a store nearby that has a $300 bottle sitting around, you're thinking about trying it, you know that it might not hit you.
It might not.
Totally right. Like the hype behind it can be hyper specific to certain people's palates.
Yep.
So that was really enlightening for me in this blind tasting. We don't ever try to think about what we're tasting, but I had no clue that either one of these were either of these products. And I really like them both. Really like the experience on this one. Really like the flavor profile on this one.
Yep.
You weren't really wowed by either one. That's just how it goes sometimes. So buyer beware.
That's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what we do here, if you want to join in on our live streams, be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified when we're doing our next live stream. We do those once a month. And we also have our email address down there in the video description that you can check out if you want to get in touch with us about anything. And we also do a charity live stream every October, speaking of live streams. And if you want to be a part of that, if you want to find out more information about that, hit us up. We do a charity live stream for mental health. We raise funds for that. And it's part of what you get when you tune into this channel. If you're going to give us some viewership, then we're going to use that for some good and try to make a difference in the world. So get in touch if you'd like to know more info or if you'd like to donate a bottle to the cause.
Until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Make sure you put your name and your date on your paperwork before you turn it into the teacher.
What is the date? The 9th.
In this scenario, am I the teacher?
No, you're never the teacher.
But you turn in your work to me.
That's true. I guess you are the teacher. Because you mansplain things to me all the time.
I do not. There's some proofy buggers, as Mr. Matt Porter would say. A proofy bugger.
Spit.
Did I?
Yeah.
These things are making me salivate. Like they're oily and... Oh, man.
This smells sour to me. Why does it smell sour to me?
I don't know. I'm like legit nervous to see what these are because
I was really not liking glass 2.
We'll see.
I said it had a urine smell. It does.
It's pretty bad. No, smell it and think.
Fine. Think urine. Don't stick your nose so far down in my glass.
No, man. Think about fried dough. Fried dough with powdered sugar on top.
That sour fried
and
dough.
raspberry.
That dough has gone bad.